Hi, my name's Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist and I'm part of the pain management team at Queen's Hospital. In this video I'm going to guide you through a series of stretches that we'd normally do in standing, but we know that not everyone can do them in standing, so this is showing you some adaptations where they can be done in a seated position. And it might be that you can do some of the standing ones and you just dip into this mixing and matching between them. That's absolutely fine. But with all of these stretches, remember to go at your own pace. Remember to breathe and try and relax into each of them. And whilst we don't mind pops and creaks and twinges, if it makes your resting level of pain worse through the day, it might actually be that you've pushed too hard with them, which can be a little bit counterproductive. So go gentle, try and do them regularly, and hopefully you'll see some benefit over the next few weeks and months. We always begin with a warm-up routine. So let's do some shoulder rolling. I'm aiming to do about 5 shoulder rolls backwards first of all. And then let's change direction and do them the other way. That's good. Let the shoulders relax. And now we're going to try and pinch the shoulder blades together. So I'm really going to squeeze between the shoulder blades right here. Hold for a few seconds and then relax. And then the same again. Poke your chest out. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then relax. We'll now do a warm-up movement called the nodding dog. I'm going to start off by just doing a small head nod, and as I do that I'm going to bring my head over to one side and then return to the middle position and do the same to the other side. So we'll aim to do a couple to each side with this one. That's good. There we go, back to our start position. So now we'd normally do a movement of swinging the arm side to side. Again, the chair you should be on is ideally a dining room chair without any arms on it. If your sofas are a little bit low, it definitely needs to be a chair without any wheels on it. If you find that you're restricted with this, I would first of all suggest having a gap between you and the back of the chair, because if I sit back here, I can't actually move the place I want to, so I need a gap behind me. And if you can't swing your arms freely, then it might even be that you bend at the elbow or cross the arms in front of you. But I'm just going to do some rotation moves to the side, really just starting to prepare our back for movement there. And it's a nice way of easing off any muscle tension that you've got in the low back. And my head moves with my shoulders as I go there, so I'm looking around with each movement there. So that's the first of our little rotation moves. And the next movement we're going to do with our warm-up routine is either with the arms across our shoulders, out in front of us, but it's another rotation, but this time I'm going to stay looking directly in front of me. I've got a bit of a creak from my back there, and that's more specifically trying to get rotation around where your rib cage areas, which is what we call your thoracic spine. There we go. So let's give those arms a shake, and we know we're now ready to do the next bit of our warm-up. So now I'm going to start doing some ankle movements. So this one here, I'm going to try and do some little marches on the spot. So I lift up my heels, keeping the toes on the ground. So there's little ankle pumps. There we go. So I've done about 5 on each side. And now we're going to look at doing some ankle circling. So I bring my heel on the ground and I'm going to make some circles, first in one direction. And then when I've done that in one direction, I can then reverse it. I did forget to say when we're doing some of the stretches in a moment, I'm going to use a little belt. There we go. And the same on the other side. So making some circles, first in one direction, and then swap over and do the same again. And then let's just finish off by giving those legs a little shake, a bit like you've got a stone in your shoe. There you go. If you didn't already, give those arms a little shake as well. There we go. So we've done a warm up, now we're going to begin the stretches. So the first one we normally do is bringing the arms out to the side, and again, if your shoulder's not great on one side, you might be a little bit limited. So I pretend like I'm an aeroplane with my arms out to the side. The progression to this, we can then bring the palms to the sky, so facing upwards, and then again I can wind that stretch up further by bringing the fingertips down towards the floor. There we go. And you should feel a big stretch along the top of the arm, maybe even down into the fingertips, and then back down again. And I'll repeat that one more time. So step one, pretending to be an aeroplane, bringing those palms to the sky, and then bring those fingertips down to the floor and back down. The next movement we're going to do is another shoulder stretch. Again, if you're restricted with your shoulder movement, you might not go very high with this, but the aim would be that I sit back in my chair and I'm going to bring my arms up. Take a really big breath in as we do this. And then breathing out again. And one more time. Hands together. Big breath in. And then breathing out again. So we've done some stretches for the shoulders, and now we're going to do a stretch for our back. And I'm going to move my chair around slightly. So this one, I'm going to aim to try and reach down to one side. Again, be stable in your chair. If you want some support behind you, you can do that. And I'm just going to reach my hand down towards the floor on one side. Hold for a few seconds. And then bring myself back up again. And let's do the same to the other side. You're going to feel a really big stretch in the side when you do this. And back up again. There is a progression as well, so if I bring myself down, I can progress by bringing the opposite elbow up to the ceiling, and if you want to, you could even potentially bring the arm up and over. That's going to give you a really big stretch all the way from the armpit all the way down towards the pelvis, and then back to the start position, and the same again. So either just the arm on its own, but if you wanted a bit of a progression, bring that elbow up to the ceiling, or potentially even bringing the arm up and over. And back to your start position. We're now going to do some stretches for our calf muscles, and it's a little bit easier in standing, but we can still do it in a chair position. So I'm going to sit forwards on the chair. The first stretch that I'm going to aim to do, I'm going to use a belt, or you might have a luggage strap, something lying around. And what I'm looking to try and do, let me give myself some room. I'm going to put the belt a bit like a stirrup under the front of my foot. I'm going to have my knee straight, and I'm going to use tension on that band to just pull my toes towards me. So again, just a belt, anything that comes to hand that can just reach around your foot. And relax. And one more time. And let's do the same on the other leg now. So again, I bring that belt underneath the foot like a stirrup. I've got a nice straight knee there. I'm going to pull on the tension on the band there. You can even do it without the band, but you're not going to get quite as much of a stretch. And you'll feel that right the way into the calf, up to the back of the knee there. That's that one done. And the other stretch that we do in standing is a small step back with the foot. So we do that in the chair. If I scuff my foot along the floor but keep the foot flat, you'll get to a point where you can't really go much further, and you get that stretch deep down in the ankle there, and I can hold that for a few seconds. And then whatever you do on one side, obviously repeat on the other leg. So there we go. Bringing that foot underneath the chair until you feel that stretch in the ankle. That's good. And then we can relax there. We're now going to move on to doing a hip stretch. It's not very dignified. And again, this is where you want to be forwards on the chair. So if you're on the bed, you might be on the corner of the bed. On the chair, you just want to sit forward so you've got some freedom to move your hips around. And what I'm going to aim to do with this one, first of all, on one side, I'm going to bring the leg out to the side until I start to feel the stretch on the inside of my thigh. And I can hold that position there. Hold for a few seconds. And back in, and then the same on the other side. So again, I bring the leg out, feeling that stretch between the inside of the thigh all the way down to the knee. If you've had a hip replacement, you need to be respectful of that. They don't always move as far as this, but you do what feels right for you. And again, over to one side. Back to the middle again, and the same to the other side. Okay, that's good. We're now going to move on to doing some stretching for our low back. I'll show you some ways to do this. Again, if you feel really giddy, just be sensible. People can sometimes be very restricted in this movement, so you just do what feels right to you to begin with. I'd often suggest just bringing your legs a little bit further apart, just so you've got room for your tummy, room for your upper body. And what I'm going to do is walk my hands forwards. Now, for some of you, if you're really tight and stiff with this movement, you might literally just get to the point where your elbows are resting on your thighs or on your knees. And that might be enough to just feel the stretch there. You can even increase that stretch further by arching the back a little bit further. But if you feel okay, you can actually go all the way down. Hold that position, and you'll feel a big stretch in the low back, all the way up towards the shoulders. You might even get the head down towards the floor, and then use your hands to recover. Walk yourself back up again into that upright position, and let's do the same again. So walking those hands down towards the floor, either resting your elbows on your knees or going all the way down. And then bring yourself back up again. And then we need to stretch in the opposite direction. So to do this, have a nice arch of the back. Again, you need to be away from the back of the chair to do this effectively. Hold for a few seconds. And then back up again. And the same again. A really big arch of the back there. Feel that stretch. And then back to the middle. And that's our standing stretches adapted to doing them in a chair. So I hope you feel okay. And remember, try and do them little and often, build them into your daily routine, and hopefully over time it's going to really help you with things like getting yourself dressed, trying to reach around and move, do the things you want to. So well done. I look forward to seeing you again.